One question drives this work. For any return we're targeting, are we taking the minimum risk necessary to get there?
We run this across 5 large cap US names: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and JP Morgan. Familiar stocks. What's less familiar is how they behave at the portfolio level.
And for our agenda for today, we will be tackling 6 sections. First is the monthly returns from April 2025 through February 2026. Second is the correlation and covariance on how these assets move relative to each other. And third, the efficient frontier for the 5-stock portfolio.
For the fourth one, adding gold as low correlation diversifier. Number 5, before and after frontier comparison. Number 6, optimal allocation weights at each return target.
Here's the punchline abroad. Adding gold shift the efficient frontier to the left. Same return, less risk, or same risk, more return. That's a structural improvement, and it's the central finding we'll walk through today.
Let's begin. Monthly returns. So based on the data, the technology stocks such as Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta shows higher volatility, meaning their returns fluctuate more across months. For example, the Meta has a strong gain in April with a 17.94% gain, while the Amazon experienced a large decline with a negative 12.24% in January. Meanwhile, the JP Morgan shows relatively more stable return compared to the technology stocks. So the data suggests the technology stocks offer higher growth but higher risk, while financial stocks or the JP Morgan provide more stability for portfolio diversification.
Now let's proceed to the summary statistics. As we can see, Apple has the highest annualized average return, which resulted in 24.66%. Then, we also have Meta as high, but not as high as the 24.66%. This only resulted in 23.88%, but that is not bad. Now, we have Microsoft as the lowest annualized average return, or its gain. And then, we have Meta. Well, they have a high annualized average return or gain. Meta has the highest annualized standard deviation or risk, which resulted to 31.44%. Then we have JPM as the lowest, 16.26%. While Amazon, as we can see, this is stable. Its monthly standard deviation is 7.26% and its annualized standard deviation is 25.15%. So Amazon sits in the middle, or solid returns, moderate risk. So our bottom line here is that Apple, and JPM offered the best balance of return versus risk. Meta paid well, but it was a bumpy ride. Microsoft underperformed the group.
This slide shows the variation analysis of 5 stocks: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and JP Morgan, and how the relationship changed when gold is added. In the first chart, we see that Microsoft, Amazon, and JP Morgan have a strong relationship, meaning they often move in the same direction. This can increase the risk of losses happening at the same time. Meanwhile, Apple shows weaker or negative correlation with some stocks, which means it can stabilize the portfolio. In the second chart, gold is added, and we can see that it has low or negative correlation with most stocks. This shows that gold can help reduce overall portfolio to diversification.
So in this covariance matrix, the diagonal values shows each stock's volatility, while the diagonal value shows how pair moves each other. Meta has the highest variance of 0.0988, making it the most volatile. And the JP Morgan has the lowest of 0.0264, making it the most stable. Microsoft and Amazon have strong passive covariance with 0.0453, meaning they often move in the same directions. While the Apple and the Meta have negative covariance with negative 0.0359, meaning they tend to move oppositely. So this matrix helps investors find risk levels and diversification opportunities.
So now let's move on to the sheet 3, which is the efficient frontier. Efficient frontier shows the best possible portfolios we can create using these 5 stocks. So this table on the right side shows the yearly return and yearly risk of each stock if you put all of your money in just one stock alone. Apple had the highest return of 24.66%, while Meta had the highest risk at 31.44%. JP Morgan had the lowest risk at 16.26%. The table on the left side contains the 50 portfolios that make up the curve. Each row shows the target return and the lowest possible risk achievable at that return level using a mix of the 5 stocks. The return values were evenly spread from 7.20% up to 24.66.
1, 2, 3, go.
In addition to that, to build this model, we didn't just guess. We established a range based on actual performance of the 5 core holdings. We took the lowest performing asset, which is the Microsoft, at 7.20%, and our highest, which is the Apple, at 24.66%. Then we broke that range down into 50 distinct target return levels, incrementing by precisely 0.36% per step. So, in the table earlier, this table consists 50 optimized portfolios. Each rows represent the target return, and Excel solver finds the lowest possible risk for that return using different combinations of 5 stocks. The result, solver filtered through thousands of weight combinations to find a single point of mathematical minimum risk for every level of return. That is what you can see earlier in the 50 rows of the table. It is the blueprint of our curve. While here in the graph, the horizontal axis represents the volatility or the risk, while the vertical axis is the expected return and the curved line is the efficient frontier. So I want to draw your attention to the 5 individual dots representing the Apple, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and JP Morgan. Notice that they all sit to the right curve, meaning they are inefficient. If we hold any of these stocks in isolation, we are taking on excess risk that doesn't provide a matching reward. On the other hand, at the far left tip of our curve, you'll see the star maker. This is our minimum variance portfolio. It's our safety floor. With risk level of 17.35%, it is the mathematically safest way to hold these 5 assets regardless of market conditions.
Now let's move on adding the gold. Maybe some of you might ask why gold has chosen to be an asset for diversifying. Not because gold has the highest return, but it tends to move in the opposite direction from the stock. In the context of Markowitz's portfolio theory, gold serves as the representative of an asset into the asset class that has low correlation into the stocks. When stocks fall, the gold rises, or vice versa. It is also known as safe haven because in the real world finance, gold recognized as an inflation hedge, a crisis asset, or uncorrelated with equities. So in this illustration, we can see the gold versus the average stock returns by month. So at first, we will check how it end up to get this average 5 stock. So the first one we can do is to check the sum of monthly returns. As you can see here in the monthly returns, we can see different percentage here. So in this average, we can see the sum of all monthly stocks. So by adding those, this monthly stock of different stock companies, we can get this 9.74%. So since they have the opposite symbol, the negative one and the positive one, they offset risk. While others have the same symbol, they are both positive, so they don't offset risk. Because as I said earlier, if they have the different symbol, like the gold is rises, then the stock is decreasing, they can offset risk. So now we will move here into the gold annualized return, which ends up to 36.33%. So what we did is that gold return monthly by the number of months. So 33.30% is the gold return, is the gold average monthly return times or divide by 11. So it will end up to be 3.0273% per month. So 3.273% is the gold average monthly return. So now we will compute the gold annual standard deviation. So the formula for this is the gold return minus average monthly return. So for example, the 1.80%, then we will minus the gold average monthly return, which is 3.0273%. Then the answer will be negative 4.8273%. Then we will get this squared, so the answer will be 0.00233026. Then this is the average standard deviation of Apple. So to get the gold annual standard deviation, we will add all square deviation. Then after we add all those, we will end up to 0.00665818. Then we will divide it by 10. Then the answer would be 0.00066582. Then we will square it. Then the answer would be 0.00066582 or 0.025803 or 2.58%. Then we will multiply it by square of 12. Then we will get the gold annual standard deviation, and it would be 8.94%, as you can see in the table. Then this correlation tackles about the correlation of gold and different stocks. So Apple got 0.3589 that is correlated with gold, since it would be moderate, since it gets the positive 35%. So Microsoft got negative 0.5927, since it is a good diversifier, since they have the opposite symbol. Like the gold is rising while the Microsoft stock is losing. Aside from that is also the Amazon, the Meta, and the JP Morgan have negative symbol or they are losing. So the goal that they got is rising. No, so that's a good term or a representation of a good diversifier. That gold is rising and the stock is losing because when they have the same value, they have a tendency to same losses or same rising. So that's the correlation of each stock with the gold.
Moving on to sheet 5, efficient frontier comparison. So the first table shows the same data from sheet 3. It contains the 50 portfolios created using only the 5 stocks. This table is placed here so we can directly compare it with the new frontier that includes gold. In the second table, it shows the new efficient frontier. The only difference is that gold is now included in the portfolio. And because gold does not move in the same way as stocks, adding even a small amount of gold helps reduce the total portfolio risk. And in the third table, this table shows the individual return and risk of the 6 assets. Gold has a return of 36.23% and the risk of 8.94%. These values were calculated using the same method used in the sheet 3.
So the graph compares two efficient frontiers, the 5-stock portfolio and the 5-stock plus gold portfolio. The blue line represents 5-stock only, while the gold line represents the portfolio with gold included. As shown in the chart, the gold line shifts to the left, indicating the same level of return can be achieved at a lower risk when gold is part of the portfolio. The yellow shaded area highlights the risk reduction gained by adding gold in the portfolio. So, this graph clearly shows that holding just one asset, no matter how good it looks, is always riskier than holding a combination of assets.
1, 2, 3, go. So as you can see, gold is now introduced in this portfolio. By introducing gold, the maximum achievable target return increases from 25% up to 36%. And this suggests that gold has historically provided a return profile that complements equities during high growth targets. So in the expanded model, we see a more tactical inclusion of the JP Morgan or JPM between the 27% and the 33%. This acts as a bridge before the portfolio fully rotates into gold.
For the asset rotation, as the target moves beyond 20%, the portfolio aggressively rotates out of traditional tech, Microsoft and Apple, and into gold. This highlights gold's role not just as hedge, but as a primary performance driver in this specific optimization modeling.
Now, let's look at the optimal portfolio weight. It shows how our portfolio is allocated among different assets depending on the target return. On the horizontal axis, we can see that different portfolio levels are target return. On vertical axis, we see the percentage of the portfolio invested in each asset. As we move from lower to higher target return, the portfolio allocation changes. At lower target return levels, 7% to 15%, the portfolio is heavily anchored by Microsoft and Apple, reflecting their role as the primary stability driver. And to achieve the maximum target return of 25%, the model suggests a 100% allocation to Apple. And this indicates that within the equity only, Apple offered the highest expected returns, though it sacrificed their diversifications to get there.